Scuttlebutt Tavern podcast. I am one of the hosts, Justin Ellison. This is my esteemed colleague, Adam Gossett. Welcome.
I am number two of two hosts.
Yes.
That's me.
That's cool. Or you could also just be, well, can I be number two too?
I was really liking, see, it's number two.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting the bottom bunk.
It's kind of like Duke, like dropping a Duke. Number two.
It's a little bit more significant than
the
taking
Duke.
a P. Rather than the P.
Yeah, I don't care for that as much.
I deal with front end problems. I deal with wetness. And liquids.
That's not as lucky.
Yeah. See, you get to deal with solids and liquids. I mean, sometimes I get to deal with solids, but they're in the form of kidney stones. Usually really painful.
The pain that makes you puke department.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's either not so bad or really terrible.
Well, lucky.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's part of my charm.
Yeah. It comes with it. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, that's what you get when you sign up for this shit. That's what you got to understand about
blinding pain.
Yeah. Sometimes I cause you blinding pain.
That's my particular jam.
And it's something I'm good at, and I think you should just do what you're good at. And sometimes it's causing blinding pain in your penis.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Now I lost my train of thought. Now I'm sad.
Oh, we've already taken a bad turn.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh. Yeah. Well, kudos to old Charles Oliveira for winning his fight.
Kudos to all the fighters on that card for showing up.
Yeah.
Fighting when there's no one physically around to watch for.
You know, it was pretty interesting being able to like hear the corners and being able to like hear what some of them are saying. Because, I mean, it's just essentially like one of the fights that happens in the Ultimate Fighter house. So, you know, it's a much different atmosphere. But, you know, you still get guys that are coming out there. I think there was a guy that came out there and choked someone out in like 45 seconds. Like, I'm pretty sure we'll have to look this one up. But I'm pretty sure that
there were finishes. There were KO TKO finish styles. There was submission stuff. It was seemed to be a pretty good event, and you know, much worse events have occurred for full on audiences.
The Anderson Damian Maia.
Oh, gross.
Which is funny because Damian Maia was on this card as well.
Yep.
The Yoel Romero and Adesanya fight.
Yeah, I heard that was really bad.
It was. You know what? It was an odd game plan to like utilize, and I understand why he probably was trying to implement it in the first place, but why he just stuck with it throughout the whole fight. It's like at a certain point when you start getting into like round 2 and 3, it's like, you should probably pick up the activity and actually start trying to strike this dude and hurt this guy and start like making it actually into a fight. Because just trying to sit back and try to bring Adesanya to him so that way he can explode into a giant counter punch or a giant like knee or something, basically countering his fucking shit. You know, that could possibly be like a good plan early on, and maybe try it in round 1, round 2, and like especially if you did it in round 1 just to kind of see what he's doing and kind of just pattern him out. But at a certain point, you have to get into the fight. At a certain point, you have to have action. You know, you're not going to win a fight just by standing there.
Well, and especially in a fight for a belt, that should be in different echelon of like competition. You know, it is because it's for the belt. So like, why not act like it? It's no way to be like just fighting a fight to get a win. You got to want to fight to finish still. It's like following a game plan and being boring. That's a very disappointing thing. I've seen that a lot from some Greg Jackson fighters. It's like, oh, don't worry about, you know, crowd pleasing, just in it to win it. Don't actually worry about being exciting. So that's toxic.
You know,
I feel like that's the kind of thing that would make Dana White really mad.
But see, here's the thing, though, is the counter argument to that is you should be allowed to fight your fight. And if your fight is a very, very boring style, like take Ben Askren, for example. Not the most exciting fighter to watch, but he has a very effective style. He was holding down people for a very, very long time and beating them up on the ground. And even though you get guys like Khabib who are way more exciting than Ben Askren is, especially, I mean, Khabib's ground and pound is almost like second to none. The way he just fucked up Michael Johnson on the ground.
Yeah, he had him in all sorts of different damage states throughout the fight. Like, not only was he just controlling him on the ground, but he had him rung more often than not. He was actually just in survival mode for the whole fight, it seemed like. It was a bad fight for Michael.
Yeah, it was. But see, I think a guy like Khabib is one of those dudes who's extremely hard to prepare for because there's very few guys on the planet that have his level of wrestling. So it's hard to bring in guys with his caliber of wrestling to get prepared for it. And even then, those guys that do have that same caliber of wrestling may just come in and just toss your ass around the whole entire camp. Like, and that's it.
Right.
So, like, your entire camp may be just you getting fucking flung around by wrestlers the whole entire time and just every once in a while figuring out something new and, like, figuring out some escapes. But, you know, those guys, a lot of those wrestlers been doing it since they were kids. I mean, there was videos of Khabib wrestling bears as a kid. You know? I mean,
that's extreme.
That's very extreme. But I mean, that just kind of comes back to the whole point. This guy has been doing this for years. Like he is on that level of like mastery at this point of wrestling and being able to grapple with someone and being able to grapple someone to the ground and utilize ground and pound.
Yeah.
Which some guys really struggle with ground and pound. You notice, like, there's some guys who have really good tech, like, well, not necessarily. Usually the guys have really good technique of striking, standing up. That usually translate really well to the ground. But you see a lot of guys, they do struggle with having power on the ground.
Right.
Like, they don't know how to utilize their, like, hips in order to, like, their whole, like, body in order to, like, get that punch in there really hard.
It's weird how many, or how few fighters come to mind as far as like just devastating like stoppage power on the ground.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few names that come to mind, but it's just one of those things that not everyone's got, like not by a long shot.
And you know what? Most of those dudes are usually fairly big dudes.
A lot of them are pretty big dudes, yeah.
Khabib's only a 155-pound guy. Well,
Right.
no, I mean, not walking around. When he's walking around, he's fucking huge. You know, he's probably... I think he walks around... I've heard he walks around somewhere around 200 pounds.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of weight.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect quite that much.
I mean, yeah. But if you're constantly... Oh, your shit just shut off.
Oh, is that right?
Yep. See how it's not blinking anymore?
Yeah, why is it doing that?
Yeah.
It winked at me. Now it's going again.
Oh.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It did to me the other day. Like when I was out fishing, it kept being like beep, 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 beep.
I think it's someone trying to force their way into my world.
It's
stay out of my world. Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Nope. Someone's hacking in there.
Oh, stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay there.
Stop doing that.
No, actually, you know what? Stay there. Watch this.
They hacked in. They're in.
They're in.
It's a 3-piece now.
It's a 3-way.
Yeah. Oh.
Actually, it's a 4-way. And actually, it's more than that because there's more viewers than just one.
I hope. Yeah. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. See, we're getting our popularity back.
Yeah.
But you know what? There was someone that I was really hoping that would win, and that was Johnny Walker. I was hoping that he was going to win this fight because I kind of like this guy.
Me too.
Whenever he first came into the UFC, he was just fucking beating some ass. But I guess this dude that he fought right here is like a karate guy. And
it was only a decision loss as well. And would this be his second or third loss in the UFC for Johnny Walker?
I think it's his second. I want to say it's the second.
Yeah.
Because
so
I know he just...
That Corey Anderson loss is his only other one.
Didn't he fight John Jones? No, that wasn't Johnny Walker. That was somebody else.
Johnny Bones Walker Jones.
Johnny Bones. Francisco Trinaldo won his fight.
That's exciting.
That's an old guy.
Yeah, fighting John McDessie.
Yeah.
He's still got a wonky eye.
A 3-round fight. I bet you that was a pretty decent fight. Like, I bet you I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about right here. This guy apparently guillotined this guy.
Oh.
Or, like, choked out this guy in, like, 45. Well, it says 44 seconds, but, basically 45.
Renato Moisano.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
I also don't know who Damir Hedzovic is either.
But still, you know what? Getting a quick submission like that's pretty good. It's still beeping on you.
So it's still forcing their way into our world?
I know.
It's a slow takeover.
I don't know what's up with that thing. But it's still recording.
That's good.
So, we'll see. We'll see.
Time will tell.
Did you by any chance check out any of the Joanna Jędrzejczyk and what's her name? Fucking Wally. That's her name.
Wally.
I can't remember her first name. I'm really bad with names, by the way, people. So if you hear me like not know someone's name, it's because, yeah, I don't remember people's shit. It's kind of a bad thing that happens in my memory, in the memory bank system.
Memory in that quadrant.
Yeah.
Of the brain.
I'll remember something stupid, but your name, I just don't know. But by any chance, did you ever check out some of that fight?
Just a really short highlight video of it. I didn't really get to see I don't know what damage caused the initial smack.
It was a straight.
Was it to the forehead that did that?
It was a straight.
My goodness.
She threw a fucking giant ass fucking straight, and it just hit the forehead, and she just drove right through it.
Wow.
Like just fucking
I did not
raked
see that.
it hard.
That's pretty awesome.
And started that hematoma. And when it started, she just kept punching it. But see, I was seeing some like training videos of her, and she was doing that weird shit to where you would have like somebody on like either side. Like if I was holding a pad and you were holding like pads, and she would stand here, she would kick these and then turn and kick those. So it would be like bop, 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 right back and forth.
Interesting.
So she was really like working, being able to like switch stances and kick from either side and be able to kick on a dime sort of thing. Like, oh, I kicked you over here and then you moved really quickly to come over here. Because Joanna's a very athletic, I think it was a straw weight. It was a straw weight fight.
Yeah. She's really fast too. She's
and a very technical fighter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and dude, she didn't fucking back down out of that fight at all. Her face was getting fucked up, and she just wouldn't fucking quit that shit. And it's like, God damn it. And then
when did that straight occur that caused that swelling?
I think it was like the second or third round.
Yeah, there you go. Having to fight on that for a while, that's no good.
Yeah. It's not like that shit happened in the 5th round.
Right.
And she was just dealing with it for like a couple of minutes. No, that happened like kind of like in the middle of the fight. And the thing is going into round 5, it was anybody's game. So, even with getting her face kind of smashed in, and it's not like the other chick's face, I better look up the actual names. So that way I can, Zhang, that's what her name is.
Zhang Wally?
Wally Zhang. That's what her name is.
I've never seen that person fight before.
She's a tank of a woman. It was a really good fight.
Dariushbag got himself.
And I think they actually total number of strikes 170, 196. Wow. Well, she had less significant strikes though. But she was doing more damage with those significant strikes. I mean, she was like causing Joanna's face to just swell up. But she's got some arms. She's got some fucking arms on her. She's got some fucking guns.
Lady guns.
She's got lady guns. Like
that Gonzaga Bigfoot fight that you showed me, was that recent? Did that just happen?
I'd assume so.
That was not very awesome for Bigfoot. He maybe should just hang him up. It was a sluggish old performance on his part, it looked like. He got smacked up.
I didn't want to go to the site, damn it. But yeah, look at it. Look at those arms.
Yeah, that's a hard strike.
That might have been the one that fucking...
My goodness, that's a crazy picture of that swollen forehead there.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness, dude.
I just saw...
That's
that's the look when you look at the big screen and you go, oh shit, that's my forehead.
That is exactly what's happening there. She's seeing the damage that occurred. Either that or a ghost did it, and she also saw the ghost.
Here's a before and after.
Is she pointing at it? That's crazy looking. That's a lot of swelling. That's crazier than the Mark Hominick forehead.
There's the punch that
it makes her look like a
That's
different
the punch.
person. You know what's funny is, like, I didn't actually know that this fight was happening, and then I saw that picture and was like, who even is that? And they said it was Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I actually can't tell. That's incredible.
No, that fucking...
she looks... I don't want to be offensive. She looks like Rocky Dennis. She looks like the Elephant Man.
No, she's got some Frankenstein dome going.
This crazy talk.
That's you're right. Like I haven't seen that sort of swelling since Mark Hominick's face. Since Mark, whenever fucking...
I actually heard about it at work before I even saw it. It's like, oh, did you hear what happened to that lady's forehead? It's like, oh, no, I actually didn't do any looking into that yet. I should have checked that out. And then I didn't.
They were like, did you hear about the lady's forehead? And
Look,
Dan Mariola was like, look, I gotta check it out. But first, the fight. Did you guys see that fight?
Look. That's a forehead right there.
Yeah, look at Joanna.
How am I supposed to perform with a forehead like that in the stadium?
Yeah.
Roaming around here somewhere.
Yeah, how do you expect me to top that?
There's a forehead out there around these parts. It's actually upstage in all foreheads. It's bigger than a 5 head, and it's got me feeling lesser. And so that's why the main event, it was a good fight, but they should condemn
here was
fight
in between
for ruining
round
the main event.
Like, I think this was
envy.
The round when the round ended when she actually got it.
You can kind of see it beginning. Yeah, that's ridiculous from a straight. That lady hollow out her gloves and she just bouncing knuckle. What's going on in that glove?
You know what's going on in that glove? Pure fucking horsepower. That's what's going on.
The glove's got horsepower in the arm.
Yeah, she's got horsepower in that fucking arm. But dude, I mean, this chick is built. I mean, look at her. Look at this chick. Look at that neck. Look at those traps. That chick is built for punching. She's like, I just punch shit. Heavy weights and punching shit.
Punches.
Punch. I mean...
Was that not a title fight?
That was a title fight.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
and
because...
she took title? Or,
no,
or
she kept it.
Vacant? Oh, really?
She retained it.
Who'd she fight to take title?
I have no idea.
There you go.
Which is... It kind of sucks because I haven't really been paying attention to that. Like, I haven't been paying attention too much to the women's division so much. Except for the, of course, your, Amanda Nunes fights. I like to keep up to date with what she's doing because, I mean, she's just kind of the destroyer of worlds right now.
Nunes?
Yeah,
she's a tough customer. It's going to be hard to figure out that puzzle. It's like punching on a really elite scale versus a lot of people in like, who, no offense, but like in a lot of like women's fighting where they're still trying to like put together like huge caliber striking, and she sits among the top of that. She's really, really the best striking around.
Well, not only that, she can take a punch, and dude, like, to be able to just out sheer power Cyborg. I mean that says a lot. Just to be able to like go toe to toe for like 40 seconds, whatever they fucking did. I mean, that fight...
It was a couple sentences of big, significant actions that just stopped, like, who was thought to be the toughest lady in the fucking world of mixed martial arts.
And
like,
she
stopped her dead in her tracks.
Yes. I mean, and it's not like Cyborg didn't land in that fight either. It's not like she didn't just come... Like, they came out and they fucking... Okay, we're going to trade. And they fucking traded. And guess who... And fucking, you know... She came out on top.
Yeah.
The Lioness came out on top. But see, okay. Oh, wow, that's a lot of fucking wins. Jesus.
Win. Jessica and Andrade.
Okay, so here's UFC. Her first one is...
So she took the championship from Jessica Andrade. TKO knees and punches. Won the women's strawweight championship performance of the night.
Huh. That might have been a vacant one.
Perhaps.
Because wasn't or is Rose is she 115 or is she 125? Because I thought like Rose fought young Jacek and like knocked her out unconscious like a couple times. No, then young Jacek. No. Then man, I'm so far behind. I am so far behind.
Yeah, I've been out the loop some too. But I mean, you know, they're going to quit showing fights for free on the channels that I don't. You know, I don't have real TV. So, like, I don't get Fox fights anymore. I don't get to watch any fights.
Well, it's still got boxing.
Yeah, but they don't advertise it correctly. The only reason I caught it by accident the other day.
I think they had one yesterday.
Really?
I think so. Let's just see this.
Nordic Nightmare. That dude's going to be pretty good.
Wait. PBC on Fox. Actually, I've been keeping up with boxing more than I've been keeping it up with MMA. Which is kind of weird.
Yeah. The biggest fight in the past couple months has been the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight.
Okay, no, yeah, March 7th.
Yeah, that was that last one that I saw.
So
Nordic Nightmare. Hey, did that dude just fight again? That Sebastian Fundora? Did I miss that? No, February 24th. So we saw that.
Yeah. That dude's pretty cool. I like that kid.
I like him too. He's extremely tall. It doesn't even make sense.
You know what's weird? I just kind of get the feeling that Deontay Wilder plays Dark Souls.
I don't get that. I've heard people say that outfit, like I heard that Deontay Wilder said something about that outfit weighing so much that it took a lot out of him. I'm like, well, that makes you a fucking idiot. If there's any truth to that. But I don't think there is. I think he's just trying to make excuses. That doesn't look like it would weigh so much that it would cause you issues just because you wore it out to the ring.
Well, especially whenever like
you would have tried it on already.
Especially when fucking like check it out. Like we can just fucking play the highlights off this shit. We'll probably have to.
That's funny. This dude is buying that Deontay Wilder's pre-fight costume attributed to his loss, and it's like, this dude does not believe that. It's like, no. If you're a training motherfucker, you're not gonna let some outfit get in your way. That's a whole hot steak, cold water.
Yeah,
idiot.
look at his outfit.
Yeah,
very lightweight.
I like how he came off a throne. That makes me laugh.
I mean, I do understand that there is a little bit of like showmanship, and you want there to be.
Yeah, but what even is that? It's like Deontay Wilder's like some crazy ass fucking 12-year-old who just got let loose in a goddamn clothing like chest that happened to be full of Halloween stuff. It's like an idiot. And like, what was all that? I don't get it. Like he is stupider than I thought or something.
No, I don't think
It's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, it comes
Well,
out with this like huge gimmick that no one gives a fuck about.
Well,
And then
the
he
thing
tries
is
to
just, like-
blame his loss on it too. It's like,
Like,
well,
it
it's
started
obviously
out-
a stupid change.
Well, it also started out as something like not that complicated. It started out as something like really simple, like it was like a mask.
Right.
And that's all it was just this mask. And then like he kind of blew up. Like when he started blowing up, he started wearing more and more intricate shit. And then he starts wearing this shit. Now, that also being said, I don't believe that what he was wearing was actually the thing that I think if he would have worn something different, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. I think if he would have worn a simple little mask, or if he would have just gone straight up with a hoodie or a t-shirt and walked out with a fucking t-shirt on, hell, he could have just walked out with nothing, like just his trunks and just ready to go. And I think the outcome would have probably still been the same. Fury's game plan was to get on him and hang on him and tire him out and push him backwards, because Wilder has a big chink in his armor when it comes down to fighting backwards. I
don't personally think Wilder did well at all in the entire fight. He had moments, like to where he had something to say, but for real, it was just all Tyson Fury, and like Deontay could just barely hang in there. And like after the halfway,
like right there, he was shooting. If you're shooting in a boxing match,
then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
you don't need to be fucking around like that.
I think you might need to push your little dealie because it's not flashing anymore. Oh, now it's flashing again.
I figured it would. It would just come back to it. What is that swelling damage? It looks like he broke his left cheekbone.
Who, Wilder?
Yeah.
He got punched a lot.
Yeah. He's just all over the place.
Yeah. Well, that, and also Fury's just all over him.
Right.
Like, it's almost like Fury might have like hired a like Greco-Roman guy.
Well, I think what happened here is, for some really bizarre reason, Deontay Wilder came into this fight just writing off Tyson Fury, like not worrying about him too much or enough,
because he knocked him dead in that 12th round.
Yeah, and then meanwhile,
here's another thing: he keeps fucking punching him in the ears. So those hooks that are coming over, he's aiming those for the ears. He keeps boxing his ears up.
That's good.
And he sees it bleeding, he keeps fucking boxing his ears. And that's another reason why fucking Wilder's legs are like so far, like it can't see. Like,
why is he licking him? That's gross.
Oh, because he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He's a fucking nut.
Just licking on him. The thing about this fight that's kind of funny is I liked Deontay better going into this fight, but like, to be honest with you, I like Tyson better than Deontay now because of this fight. If I was to see a third fight, I'd be rooting for Tyson for the first time. And it's nothing necessarily against Deontay, although he did shit the bed the whole night. But like, Tyson's the real deal. He takes it more seriously. He just wants it a lot more.
Yeah.
Deontay did not want it nearly as badly that night, or he'd have fought harder. He come out there kind of just like, I'm going to hang on to my belt and I don't really have to change anything or get better. And Tyson came out and got quite a bit better and fucking handled business in decisive fashion. He opened a lot of eyes that time too. And he made some new fans. I'm a bigger fan of Tyson Fury than I am Deontay Wilder now. Dude fights harder and he wants it more. It's
for
savage.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Came out there and took it. He had that shit.
Well, and also, you know what? Tyson Fury saw what he did in the first fight and went, oh, okay, this is how I can beat him. He took the things that he did well and the things that actually worked in the first fight and applied them to this fight. Because he knew Wilder wasn't going to change up his game plan, because it all just comes back to the whole thing of course, don't fix what ain't broke. So if you're sitting there smoking fools with a fucking giant right hand. Plus, you drop a dude and you just about murder him with the right hand. I mean, why change it? But, you know, but I also think that to play my own devil's advocate on that one, that I think if you're a fighter and you think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I feel like that is a very stunted curve. Like, it's a very stunted thing to do to your own career and to everything that's happening. Like, what you should do is you should think, I should constantly improve, and I should constantly find ways to be a better fighter.
I think that being complacent is toxic for those in the championship picture, or for people in a contender situation. I think being complacent is kind of toxic. I think not only just because you should be improving, but because if you sit there for too long without changing something up, that paints a bigger and bigger X on your back since you're at the front of the line.
For sure.
If a human being sits there and sees a guy and can replicate, or not replicate, but like prey on that and kind of train for it in their camp and stuff like that, it would make it easier and easier for that human being to become a problem for you. So if you're not mixing it up at some point, if you're in the spotlight, it'll be pretty easy to just not necessarily expose a chink in the mail, but create one.
Right.
So it's really important to actually like stay up on making yourself more of a fighter instead of just a better one.
Right. And you know what? He should have also taken it on more of a fight-by-fight base. And I think at a certain point, you get, like, I think when you're in these lower levels of, like, any sort of sport, especially like combat sports, if you're in like a lower organization that definitely doesn't have the type of talent, I mean, sure, take it based on, like, you know, fight by fight, but you don't necessarily need to have a very specified game plan, or at least a very like specific set of skills that you definitely need to like have in order to fight this guy. And I think once, you know, it's easy to have a general game plan for those guys, but I think once you get to the top tier, whenever you're fighting guys like Tyson Fury, you're fighting guys like Anthony Joshua, and hell, let's even like take an MMA example to where you're fighting guys like Khabib, or you're fighting guys like Tony Ferguson. I mean, you're gonna have to have a certain specified set of skills in order to be able to beat these guys. Like, you have to have a game plan. You can't just bank on the right hand landing. If you're just banking on moving forward and landing the right hand, I mean, look what happened to fucking Johnny fucking, you know, the fucking short dude from Texas with the beard.
Oh, Hendricks.
Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah. Never been a fan.
But his whole thing, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to throw the left hand.
He's just a myth. He just exists on one big punch in a decent wrestling game.
Yeah, he just had a lot of power. He had a lot of power and he was able to throw it.
Myth.
So, you know, and he didn't really ever improve. And, you know, sometimes you can get to the top echelon just banking off of that sort of talent. But if you don't evolve as a fighter, then, you know, when you run into guys that are at the top, that's why John Jones is the best in the world, because he keeps evolving his game. He keeps getting better and better. He keeps finding ways to beat these guys. Any guy, I mean, he can always find a way to be able to win.
Yeah.
And yes, this last fight, I don't necessarily think he won that fight. Like, I think Reyes actually won more rounds, but that also being said, it was a very, very close fight. And John was like, do
you think it was more than a draw? Like, you think dude did enough to actually finish him?
See, here's the problem about it.
I just sort of...
Reyes won early on, and John won the latter half. So at a certain point, Reyes petered out, and John took over.
Well, that's pretty telling. And I get the feeling that if you were just to give more time, the guy would have never made his way out.
No. If it would have been a round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, I think Reyes would have been finished.
Yeah.
Like if you would have added if you would have added a couple more rounds, Reyes was not coming back in that fight. When he started losing, he wasn't coming back.
No, a big portion of it I feel like too is it's really hard to be called the winner when you can't come in and kind of take over in convincing fashion in a championship fight. It's really hard to come in and like leave with the belt when it was just kind of like, I could have seen it either way. So like at best, I didn't feel like that was much more than a draw. And if that's going to be the case, then John would retain the belt deservingly because he's the winner.
Yeah. I mean,
or because he's the champ.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's the champ. I mean, I do agree with it. It's not that it's not one of the. It's not. I don't think it's a shit decision. Like I'm not arguing whether or not it's a shit decision. It's just I do see it that Reyes won that fight, but I don't think it's bullshit that he lost.
Right.
You know, it's kind of one of those things to where it's like, yeah, I do think you won, and I think if you come back in a better fashion. Like, here's the thing is, like, John Jones lives at the camp to where they're the king of rematches. They have, I don't even know fucking Winkle Jackson's fucking win ratio when it comes down to, like, rematches. It has to be, like, it has to be in, like, the upper 90s.
Big win margin on them rematches. Rematch camp.
They're the rematch
They should
camp.
invite Frankie Edgar down to rematch camp.
You know what? He's had too many rematches. He's been rematched right out. Well,
he ran out of rematches.
You know what? But the one thing I do like about Frankie Edgar is he's like, I'm not leaving where I live at. This is my community. This is where I live at. This is where I've trained at. You know, these are the people that I grew up with. I'm not going to leave this to go to a different camp. You know, he's like, I'm still competing at the top of the world. Why would I leave this camp? Or why would I leave this place here and go somewhere else when all my friends and family are here? And I already have like good relationships with everybody here, and I'm still at the top of the heap. You know,
that is enough of a reason to just stay put.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're the kind of person that doesn't have that kind of a like bond or anything like that, it'd be a lot easier to hop ship and just hop to other places. But he seems to be doing well. The things he's good at, he seems to be some of the best at.
Yeah.
It's like quick wrestling and just being a handful.
Yeah. At all times. And he never fucking quits.
No.
I mean, look at the fucking Gray Maynard fights. Oh, man. Like, I don't think if there was ever a time to where a ref did the best job he could and it showed, it was during those fights. Like Frankie Edgar, what was it in the second one? He got dropped 4 times in the first round.
It was bad. I think that has got to be a 10-7.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. A 10-7 round. 100%. I would agree that he would have lost that as a 10. Actually, I think it would have been such a bad he started out so low on points at that point to where he had to finish the fight. Because of that first round, he had to finish that fight.
It ended up being a draw.
Wait, what?
But because Frankie was the champ, he retained the belt.
Was it that one? I thought the one he got dropped like 4 times, he actually finished it in like the 4th round.
No, he ended up. So what happened was that was the first time they fought for the belt, and Frankie got dropped ridiculous over and over again, and it looked terrible, but he just bounced back and he secured takedowns and he was much harder and he just sealed deal on every other round and it made it a draw. And his camp was so excited. They're like, oh, you keep your belt. But then he like actually cried in the back because he was so disappointed over like not truly ever getting back what he lost in the first round. Because he essentially got nailed down and fucking destroyed and then had to just kind of eat it and just win on points.
Oh, yeah. Like, he was talking about it. He's like, when I came to, like, they were like, all right, it's the final round. Or it's like, hey, I think they were like, "Hey man, it's the final round. We're going." He's like, "It's the final round? What?"
Yeah. Oh,
like
no.
he's like he I think he sat there and was. I remember him saying it onto like a podcast I was listening to where he was actually like, to where when he came to from those fucking knockdowns, that all that fucking trauma that he fucking took, like I think it was like round 4 or 5. So like the shit that he took in the first round, he didn't remember from then until like round like 5-ish.
Jeez.
And even then it was fuzzy. Like, he just remembers bits and pieces of the fight. He doesn't remember the whole fucking fight.
It's because he got stung so many times. He was fucking loose bad for the entire first round. And it just, like, dominated his ability to, like, perceive time for the next...
No, his subconscious brain took over and fucking started utilizing the neural pathways within his head that he already carved.
Yeah.
And it's like, we do this to survive. Okay, you know.
Yeah, I gotta go on like muscle memory and reflexes to like live.
He went on pure instinct.
Yeah.
To just like and I think that was one of the reasons why the Gray Mater Frankie Yeager fights were so amazing, because of the fact that it was just a lot of just pure instinct by these guys that were just being showcased.
That, and he was able to, if I'm not mistaken, he finished Gray in the second title fight. Like, not a big deal.
No, it was a big deal. I think it was kind of like remnants of like all the other ones to where he was like getting fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the first bit of it, and then he came back and won and finished him off in the fourth.
I could have swore it was a lot more like there we go, just stop him. But I might be wrong.
No, I think all the Gray Mater fights were just wars. They were wars. And it didn't take much out of him, apparently. Like from what I see. I mean, I don't know why. That dude can take some fucking punishment. Maybe he has like a layer of fat on the outside of his brain that just kind of protects it.
Yeah, just some insulation.
Yeah, he's got something in there. He's got sponges. Like, yeah, he doesn't have liquid. He has like an actual like some sort of sponge material. He has extra brain that doesn't actually have like any sort of purpose.
Just dead cells for bouncing. Yeah,
that's all it is. It's just a huge... Maybe that's the reason why Did Neanderthals have bigger brains? I think that was like said that they were supposed to have bigger brains than humans did.
Yeah, just so it can absorb more shit.
Yeah, I think that's probably why.
Probably.
Yeah. So
just to fall harder.
Yeah. But bam! All right. Just get kicked in the head by a horse and still be able to bite it with your face.
Yeah, I think I'm okay to fight this horse for dinner.
With my face and teeth and arms and
fingers. It'll
fingers.
Just kick the shit out of me once. I'm good to go.
Or twice, or maybe 3 times or 4. It could stomp the shit out of me too.
I woke up ready to eat this horse.
Yeah, I woke up ready to eat this horse. And now I can't walk.
Yeah, it kicked me out. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah. It kicked me out and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, ready for more. I was playing Kingdom Come, and I've been taking off my horse quite a bit now. Speaking of horses, I keep riding up into shit and getting knocked off my horse. I think that might be from one of the more recent updates, because it didn't used to happen as often as it is.
Yeah.
I'd be riding through like thick brush and just get like pulled off my horse. But, and it doesn't actually hurt your guy too bad or anything, which is cool, but I think it's pretty cool to have to worry about that now. I didn't used to have to mess with that any. I did a really cool quest to where the executioner is really pissed because there's some criminals that are like really rugged. One of them is like a murderer that used to be a noble, but he's been killing for years and they just now figured it out. And there's another guy who's just a flat out murderer and they finally caught him. And then a third cat who's extremely wicked and he's been killing, but he does it in a really wicked manner and he like preys on pregnant women and fucks shit up. And when they caught him, he had a candle made out of a baby's arm and like they're all, oh my God.
That's a pretty cool candle.
I think it's a cool candle to keep.
Do they have them at Nordstrom's?
He said it's for good luck, so yeah, I think so. It's probably at Nordstrom's.
You know what? I should probably get the aloe vera. I should probably get the aloe vera rock.
The Charles aloe vera rock. The Charles aloe vera candle.
Baby candle rock.
Baby on candle rock. But I'm trying to like, essentially these 3 dudes are getting executed, but the executioner's flaming pissed because they picked a more famous executioner from out of country to like come in and kill these dudes.
Yeah.
And he's mad because part of the responsibility of being the executioner is killing anybody in that vicinity. And because of it, you know, you're shunned a little bit. You can only go to like the bar. You're not allowed to be like roaming around and like hanging out in public locations or go to church. Can't even live in town. You got to live outside of town. And he's pissed because, you know, because of all the like shit he has to put up with, he should be the guy that gets to kill the famous criminals. And so he's not going to be able to do it. That's set in stone. You can't kill all the famous criminals. So what do we do? And he's like, you could sabotage this, you know, in my opinion, lesser executioner coming in from out of country to like do this. You could sabotage his shit. And it's like, so what do I got to do? And it was a long list of shit. I had to sneak up to this dude's camp, and I had to wait till they were sleeping because they wouldn't let me just walk up and like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, fuck off. So I was like, okay. And I had to wait around till like midnight, and they start to lay down, but they keep one dude awake, like no matter what, like so that they can sleep. And I was like, that's not very fair. I'm gonna have a hard time sneaking around. So he wanders off at one point. I'm like, well, I go over and I like choke him out and leave him in the woods. And I come back and I hop in and I'm trying to steal the fucker's sword so I can dull it and bring it back. So I want to like take it to a like grindstone and like grind it down to nothing on purpose so that I can like dull it. And it's really shameful for an executioner to have to swing more than one time to cut through a neck. So he'll be shamed if he has to swing on this dude too many times to take his head off. So dull.
You know, that's kind of funny because like when the guillotine came around, they were like, this is a more humane way to do it. But it usually took like 2 or 3 tries.
Yeah. Well, you what it is you eliminate human error. You know, now it's just kind of, oh, that's just way it goes, instead of being like, you motherfucker, you know, like, because it's like, oh, I didn't do it good. You gotta dull his sword down. And
well, yeah.
If you take it off in one clean swoop, that's a good way to show that you're really, because like really being put to the sword was for somebody that was of an upper class, kind of a noble person.
Yeah.
Somebody that meant more. Otherwise they would just hang you.
Yeah.
So they put you to the sword whenever you're chivalrous, you know, is a better way to die. And if it took too much, then it's like, oh, they kind of like ruined his good way out by smacking him too many times with the sword.
Which, I mean, it's kind of an interesting point between executions between what they did in the UK and what they did in like Japan. Because in Japan, it's like you have to kill yourself. And if you don't kill yourself well enough, I'll chop off your head.
Yeah, I'll be there behind you. It was a double pack. It was like, if you can't do it good enough, I know I can. And then we can just kind of limit the amount of time this takes. Killing yourself is probably hard enough.
Well, but also, I think the guy probably would have died anyways.
If he was pretty good, if he could get through all those ribs.
Well, not even just they didn't stab into the rib. Like, they stabbed underneath the ribs.
What they did is they stabbed beneath the ribs on the wrong side, and then they brought it across and up to try and hit the heart. And so if you're taking too long, or if the first stab and across is too much and you can't like get it up.
But see, that first stab is into the liver.
Yep.
And that's a major organ.
Yeah, no, it's very debilitating. So like that first stab might freeze a lot of people up and they may not be able to continue.
But you would probably bleed out and die from that.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about. That guy has to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy back there is going to hit you with a sword so they can get it on him.
Yeah, just because you didn't do it good
you didn't succeed, so we're going to help you out.
Yeah, so that's what it should be in. I mean, but see, in England, it's different. It's like it's not, you don't have the option to kill yourself. Like it's weird because like in the Japanese culture, it was honorable to kill yourself. As far as like you got captured in battle, you were an officer and you were allowed to, you know, do that. Some of them, I think some of them got captured and actually interrogated. They didn't get the opportunity to do that. And I bet you a lot of those were more like generals and stuff that actually had information. They probably knew which people that they could let do this. I think that's kind of, you know, it wasn't they all did this. I think it was actually a selective group of people that got to do this.
Oh yeah, only important ones, I'm sure. Somebody else that like took attention, like a figure of interest, like somebody that's like, okay, you were a pretty big part of this, so like there's an option.
Yeah. Like, you know.
Meanwhile, in England with the knights, it really almost just kind of came, to my knowledge, it just came down to like a mercy killing when it was too late.
Yeah.
You fought yourself shitty and now you need to be killed faster than blood out. So it's like you just get stuck by the dude that was fighting you. And that was an act of mercy instead of just bleeding out dead.
But they also came out with a dagger that was meant to pierce your heart, like through the armpit. Like it was a very we're going to see some Googling skills.
Is it a dirk?
It might be a dirk.
Because those are really skinny and just straight up for stabbing. D-I-R-K.
D-I-R-K. Dirk.
Dirk Diggler. No, Dirk Dagger. I see a Diggler down there. I don't know what that means. I don't know what a Dirk Diggler is, but I don't bet you kill someone with it. There you go.
Yeah, we'll just go. No, that's not it.
Huh.
It was a very, very, very thin, like, knife. And I think it was mainly used in the medieval plague area.
I don't think a lot of those are dirks. I think they're just showing knives. That's a Tonto. I don't know what they're showing all these for.
We're going to go thin knife. Oh. Really bad at spelling. Knife.
You should probably actually type in plate armor knife because it would show you what's up.
Plate armor knife.
At least that way they would know what you're talking about because you're not going to have a knife that's going to punch straight through a plate mail, so they know about the one that's going to get like in between it.
Armor. Let's go back up. Space. Plate armor knife. That's plate armor. Yes.
They're just showing stab proof vests. That sucks.
I think
that's not going to save you.
That's not going to save you from a lot of. Well, I mean, that will help you with a lot of slashing, like anybody slashing at you. But also at the same time, your regular old body vest is also going to do the same thing. It's just what this is. That's football uniform. that's you can also see this. I think it's also, yeah, that's all football. God damn it. I don't. All right. Nick Cage.
Oh, right. I actually have to utilize the restroom.
All right, we're going to go Nick Cage. Nicolas Cage. Medieval. Nick Cage. Missing girl. Movie's missing girl. He's stealing women now.
I knew it.
Medieval. Nicolas Cage medieval movies. Season of the Witch. Okay, so this is where I originally saw this, and I don't know if this is true. So we're going to find out whether or not the season of... Because there was a small knife, and the small knife was meant to go through the armpit and into the heart. And it wasn't sharp necessarily, but it was very, very pointed. It was very, very thin. And it was meant to poke into the heart and to cause bleeding, you'd bleed out from there. All right, let's see. Weapons. See the costume and props. Here we go. Props. Costume and props. Crossbow. Okay. Nope. None of that. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the weapons that they used into this, because this is where I saw it. I saw, and what I was explaining is the weapon is a very, very thin, it's a very thin blade. So it's not necessarily bladed. It's more of like a pick. It's like a long pick, and what it is meant to go under the armpit and into the heart in order to just boop and kill the person.
I see.
And that's what this dagger was meant for. It was not meant for fighting. It was not meant for anything else other than just to stab him straight in through a certain spot. Of course you can stab through the front into the heart, but it was meant so it was long enough so when you stab through the side, it would. And they found out that stabbing through this side was more effective.
Right.
Stabbing that side of the heart than stabbing through this way. Because sometimes you would miss right here. Because people's hearts aren't necessarily in the right place. But this way, you're stabbing on the width end, which usually you're connecting with some shit. So I'm not really sure the name of this knife. Or the name of what it is. But it's a pokey. It's a pokey knife.
It's for poking.
And it was for mercy killing. Man, this podcast got to a weird spot. We went from fighting to now mercy killing.
Well, I started talking about Kingdom Come, and we were talking about executioner stylings, and then that just trailed off into methods of killing.
You know what? I think this is all sort of good shit to really kind of talk about, because it's this is part of human history that we should know that these things have happened in the past.
Yeah.
This is the practices of this culture. The Japanese culture of executions is different from the English culture of executions, which is different from the American cultures of executions. It's it is weird.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that in Japan they ever got together to kind of celebrate the killing of criminals. Meanwhile, in Britain, it was a very big thing to have they had a specified location outside of town,
and especially in America,
to come and watch a guy get killed for crimes.
Oh, and in America, it was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
People would turn here, they would have. When they would hang people, I mean, it was like fucking NFL football. Everybody fucking showed up.
Come and watch.
Or the college team. Oh, the college team's playing, Oh, hey, we're having a local hanging.
Depending on who's being killed, people would come from a long ways just to check that out. And it's because it's a famous event. You got to figure at that point in time, your biggest form of entertainment was music. And that's about it. So
and it was shitty music too.
Oh, it wasn't very good. You didn't have very many songs to choose from at all.
And the best music you had was music of people that you fucking hated.
Well, and either you knew how to play music or you got to hope you knew a guy that did, because you can't just have music.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at how many people are here.
Good Lord. And that looks like it was only in the 20s. It's a massive amount of people coming to watch someone die.
Oh, that's just a sketch. But still.
Yeah. Apparently, even though people were being killed all the time, it was
But
it had to be done a certain way. if you were going to kill somebody, it had to be done correctly. So, like, for instance, the whole beheading in one swing sort of scenario is pretty important. But also, if a guy was being hung and, like, he lived for whatever reason, the rope broke and the guy, like, made it to the ground, then it was largely considered an act of God, and oftentimes they let that dude go.
Actually, it's the same way now.
It's
if
weird.
if they execute the procedure to execute you and you live through the procedure, you carried out your sentence.
That was actually part of the quest in Kingdom Come. It's like there was 3 people being convicted and killed. I had to dull the blade so the first guy didn't die in one swing. And then I had to get a rotten rope that looked good to the naked eye but wouldn't support the weight of a man, so that, like, the guy being hung would, like, snap and hit the ground and be able to like live, presumably. And then the third dude was the guy that had the baby arm, and he was actually going to be convicted to being tortured, and he would be put to the torture rack and have his flesh ripped off with, like, flesh ripping tongs, then have his eyes burnt out of his head, and then broken on the wheel until he died.
Dude, you know what?
They use red hot pokers to stir your eye sockets.
Dude, I almost want to pause this podcast in order to, like, let you listen to Dan Carlin's the end of the Munster incident that happened a long time ago. It was, like, back in the 1400s.
Oh, you mean Munster, like the cheese, like the area?
No, the town, right? Like the city.
For, like, when you said Munster, I thought like the TV show.
No, yeah,
the Munsters incident where they burnt his eyes out on set.
No. Like, what happened is there was. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. This is gonna be fun. But what happened was there was a group of fanatical people who were called the Anabaptists, and they were a sect of the Lutheran religion, and those people ended up taking over a city and basically, doing a standoff sort of situation with the government of that of the country. And what they did to those people when they executed those people, they tortured them until, like, with red hot pokers and shit like that, until they passed out. And when they passed out, they immediately stopped, because your torture or your punishment was only during the duration of you being awake. So they kept you alive.
Yeah,
the entire time.
They would have doctors on site to actually address too severe. Well,
this was way. I think this was way before doctors.
No, like even in like the pre 1400s.
Oh yeah, they would keep you alive as much as they possibly could.
They would like. So they would go after areas that don't bleed too much. So, like, around the chest, up your sides and stuff like that. And they would have doctors there addressing any sort of, like, severe bleeding just so they keep you alive and, in their opinion, fill out what would be like a just punishment. They wanted you alive as long as possible to, quote unquote, die several deaths.
But I don't think this was the 1400s. I think it might have been earlier than that. It was after the collapse of the Roman Empire. But, like, before, I don't know, it was right whenever the Lutheran religion popped out. And I don't know when that was. I think it might have been the 1300s, it might have been the 1400s. But even still, when you talk about doctors back in the 1400s are not the same doctors that you see today.
No. They're like the only guy that could give attention to your wounds because he's done it once or twice or tried to.
He saved a guy in battle once. And that was it, But at the same time, these guys were tortured with red hot pokers, and it was one at a time. They didn't do them all at once. They did the guy that was, like, basically third in charge, and then they did the next guy, and then they did the next guy. And so you had to sit there and wait until this guy got executed in order for it to be your turn. And they were all stuck to the same post. Like they, like they were all stuck, and it was in a very public fashion too. And they did it over a very, very long period of time. It's supposed to take hours, like hours upon hours. And it's honestly, it's a really good podcast to listen to. You guys out there right now, you should guys listen to that. You should listen to this too. You would really love this podcast because I mean, it kind of deals with the religion that you kind of grew up with, which was the Lutheran religion.
Those are crazies.
Those are some crazies. I mean, but then again, also at the same time, I grew up in the Baptist religion. And those people are fucking crazy too. It's just now they're fucking fat as shit and they can't do anything. Except for the ones in Kansas that protest gay people at fucking soldiers' funerals. The Phelps.
My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, that's fucking... Their shit is fucking stupid. Because it's like, they're going to soldiers' funerals that died in combat. And being like, your son died because there's homosexuals in fucking America.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what? It's one thing to like, if you want to protest homosexuals, that's fine. That's your right. That is your right. But go to the fucking Congress. Like, go in front of the fucking buildings, like your state legislation. Go in front of that shit. Like, don't go in front of a fucking soldiers. Even if you want to sit there and say that it's because our soldiers are dying in Iraq because there's homosexuals in fucking America. I mean, whatever. That's your right to say that. That is your right to say that. It is protected by the First Amendment. And I will 100% like back the First Amendment. You should always be able to say what you want to say. Whether or not it's a dumb thing to say. Like, that's some stupid ass fucking shit to say. That's some fucking real ignorant fucking shit to say. But it's your right to fucking say it. You want to be ignorant, you want to fucking showcase how fucking dumb you are, then that's fine. But, man, have a fucking little bit of respect.
Yeah.
Like, this is a...
You put your life on the line when you go fucking picket at someone's funeral.
Yeah.
That is grounds for assault. I'm likely to come unglued.
Oh, yeah. And especially a soldier's funeral. Like, I mean, that's pretty fucking disrespectful at that point. It's like this person either believed that they could change their life or they believed in their country. And they joined the military and they lost it for that. They thought they could do some good with their life, and that's what they did, and they lost it. And whether or not it's for an extreme patriotic view, or whether or not it was like, I'm in a bad situation and I want to change it. You know, better jail than I'd rather go in the military than jail sort of thing. I'm going to fucking pick the latter and I'm going to go with the best choice I can. And that's some of the choices that some of these men and women that actually get that go into the military. You know, that's the reality of it. But whether or not that is, you're still putting your life on the line for other people's fucking shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, as long as you're really willing to put your like self out in harm's way just for the betterment of like the entirety of a group of people you've never met. Like that should like, that commands respect. And like, if you're going to come over to somebody's like place, like to like pay respects and try to like interrupt that with your like petty bullshit, no offense, but like that right there is a different argument. You come to a place to pay respect to a dude that passed away. That does not have anything to do with sexual orientation, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You should be.
That's fucked up.
And see, that's the great thing about like the fucking internet and fucking all this fucking social media shit. It's like everybody can fucking see this like small little group being like, oh, homosexuals, you fucking suck, you're making Americans die. It's like, you guys are fucking... And I hate to say this, but there's some really dumb, ignorant people from Kansas, even though I have family in Kansas. I will, in full disclosure, I do have family that do live in Kansas, but none of them are like this. Like, it's just like, I feel like sometimes you get these pockets of extreme, and whenever you get some isolation, you can get these pockets of extreme. But it doesn't mean that the people that do live in those places don't necessarily, like, they should have the same, their voice should have the same weight as everybody else's. You know, I don't want to sit here and say that just because you live in a rural area, you don't have the same voice as people who live in a metro area. Because I think everybody has the same sort of, like, dictation over.
My light's orange.
Your light's, yeah, that's fine, but my light's off.
Mm.
Well, it's. Why are you doing this?
Well, you know.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
There it goes. Hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, fuckers. Fuck nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, in the end of the serious note on that one. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I don't want to say you can't protest what you want. As much as I say that what you're doing is very disrespectful and what you're doing is very bad, but I want to say that I disapprove and I disagree with everything what you have, and I think you should be slapped in the streets.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of those things to where you can speak your mind all you want, but there's a time and a place for it. And if you, like, ignore the barrier for, like, decency in regards to that, you should be, like, at least in line of fire for scrutiny, if not, like, fucking abuse.
Well, you know what?
You know, I'll knock you the fuck out if you come to any of my loved ones' funerals and talk any shit about anything.
I think what I think it should be is you can't protest a funeral. Like, I think it should be something that you cannot protest a funeral. Like, anything that has to do, like, you can't protest a wake, you can't protest a funeral. Whether or not, it doesn't matter. Whether or not you want to sit there and be like, the person that died for the wrong reason, this is why. No. You cannot sit there and have some sort of political, be there for the dead, be there for the living, be there for the people who lost somebody. Pay them the respects that they need to be due. Pay the people that they need to be due. At that point, you're dealing with a lot of grief. You're dealing with people that just lost a significant person in their life.
Well, on a side too, like, if you were to, like, if somebody was to hop up and straight kill you for that, for coming to a funeral and, like, bringing grief upon a grief-stricken situation, and you get shot in the face, it's up for argument whether or not that person was even of, like, clear mind. He may not have been. This is a fucking mind-racking situation, and you caught a dude on the fucking worst day possible.
Oh, yeah.
And brought a reaction out of him yourself. So if that guy fucking shot you in the face and killed you, I don't feel as though you should be fucking...
What if a fucking 16-year-old kid of one of these fucking soldiers, like, lost his shit, picked up a rock, threw it, hitting you in the face, and you died? You don't necessarily...
What if a 35-year-old man who has right to carry an arm shot you in the face? I'm just here to say that, like, if that was his uncle, brother, or whoever that was maybe even closest to him than anybody else, this guy may not be in, like, cognitive enough faculties to decide whether or not he's acting properly.
Sure.
Everybody knows not to kill a guy, but I've been to so many funerals that, like, I'm here to tell you, you're not the same dude that day.
No, you're not.
And if
you're really not.
If you cause me to come undone and, like, physically act on you, like, that's the last kind of me you want to experience.
You know what I've really found is, like, on those days, like, especially, like, when my grandfather passed this year, I was over, like, I don't want to say I was overly positive, but I was overly positive for the mood that I was in. And I think the reason why I was overly positive for the mood that I was in is because I was in a very, very bad mood, and I was in a very, very bad place in that day. I mean, it's hard to bury a loved one, especially your grandfather shit, this guy took me fishing fucking all the time. Every time we went up there to Kansas, there was one time to where I got money on my birthday, and we went to buy worms, and it was the first... I thought I was the cool fucking shit. I thought I was the fucking cool motherfucker. And I just went, here's some fucking money for those worms. And my grandfather just fucking laughed his fucking laugh. I mean, he was a big guy. He was like 300 some pounds. Big dude. He was like, no, just, you just hold on to that. You know, I was so willing just to I want to, he just gave me some fucking money that I wanted to fucking spend, and I wanted to spend on worms because I wanted to go fishing.
Right.
And we ended up going fishing. I really don't remember too much rest of the day, but I remember that certain point. But it's like, if somebody came up during that point in time, I mean, and I was even one of the people that carried the casket. If someone was protesting while I was carrying that casket, I think I probably would have set it down. I probably would have went over there, and I'd start swinging. I don't know if I don't know why you would want to do that, because I mean it would be so disrespectful. How could you not? But see, also at the same time, there's some people to where, I kind of feel like also my family's redneck enough to where there's a lot of them that are farmers and have guns and shit. So you probably don't want to necessarily protest a funeral in my family because they just might shoot you on the spot. There's probably a few gun racks already loaded. There are people who live in rural Kansas. These are people who live in rural Kansas. They're not opposed to carrying guns.
Right.
This is not necessarily a not gun. You might just get shot, for doing that sort of shit.
I think funeral protesting is just one notch above grave robbing. I think that
I agree with that.
As far as disrespecting the dead goes, that is just as bad as it gets. You might as well dig the dude up and steal from him. And that's the two lows, coming to protest that, a departure for a loved one, or assault or vandalize. Those are the two lows. Can't be doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it is almost a vandalism. It is almost a vandalism.
And it's almost on a higher scale because you're vandalizing the final ceremonies, like the seeing off.
Well, and also
it's a one and done.
And see, this is protest. And I also want to make sure we clarify this. This is protesting the funeral itself. It's not like these people went and protested at the courthouse saying that, oh, see, this guy that died is because of gay people. No, they would go to the funeral itself and protest. To the funeral itself. And this is the Phelps family. So, look them up because they're fucking faggots. They probably hate that. I'm going to get sued.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. Fuck them for protesting. That's my freedom. I have the freedom of speech to tell you to go fuck yourself for fucking protesting people's funerals, you low-life scum piece of shit. Fuck you.
It comes down to trying to put yourself on a pedestal no matter what. They can't receive attention in any sort of legitimate or adult standard. So they have to seek attention out on the lowest, seediest level. And that's fucking scrounging around like a fucking funeral where they couldn't do a regular funeral. There's no coverage there. They'd go to a funeral of a fallen soldier to where there's some attention to be had.
Yeah.
And try to get their fucking agenda across during the fucking most inappropriate time.
Yeah.
And that deserves scrutiny.
And
you're a piece of shit.
And especially when you're sitting there doing it under the guise of Christianity, which under Christianity, the funeral is one of the most sacred times. Like there's two times to where there's a really sacred time in Christianity to where it's like, you don't interrupt this.
Think of it like this. If you're not allowed to, from like a priest's standpoint, you're not allowed to like break the bond of like confessional because it's so sacred.
Yeah.
What comes to breaking the sacred tradition of funeral? You know, what comes with that? You've got to be a scumbag. They didn't cover it because it should go without saying. You can't break it's two separate entities, but like what's more important, like keeping under wraps the confidentiality of like a potential like killer or something like that, or like seeing someone off. Seeing the final line has already been committed. Said killer has died, been killed. He's done for. Now you're seeing him off for the last time. Nobody has the right to interrupt or disrespect that. You know, be that as it may, man was a killer in a particular sense. Like if a guy even was a killer or a horrible human, he has a family. And those people are probably the ones that are here to see him off for the last time. And it's really cruel for any human being to have to undergo any sort of like seeing off. If you're not there to really have any say to it. So it's really fucked up to have any sort of person get in the way of it.
Well, and it's not just that this person was a killer. This person, I mean, yeah.
Well, in my scenario, if a soldier's different. No, I'm just saying, like in the worst possible case, a family of a serial killer would like to pay respect. And you can't get in the way of that. This will be their last time.
Well, it's kind of... I will kind of agree with that. At a certain point, that person was a child. And that person wasn't who they are today. Because, I mean, people... I mean, it's really hard to say whether... I mean, because there are some people who are just evil from the get-go. But you know what? Those people don't have fucking people at their funeral.
Well, sometimes they do. Like even
sometimes they do. But
if the guy died,
but even if they do, that person that came into that funeral should have the respects to pay the respect.
Exactly.
Whether or not
it may just be an old lady that hasn't really like assumed the role of mother the entirety of this person's life, that just feels guilty and wants to be around for the final moments. And even if that's the bare minimum, you gotta respect it.
Or even, you know what? Even if it's people who hate you and they want to see you buried, they should have the respect to be able to sit there and to make sure your ass gets buried. Like, they are owed that. They are like, if you're in the case of a serial killer to where you murdered innocent people, probably women. Most of the people who get murdered by serial killers are usually women. Just because it's usually men murdering women in that sort of fashion because they prey on... Or, like, weak men or usually, like, boys. Like, those are usually the categories you see, like, serial killing in. I don't know why I'm getting into that.
Well, you know.
But even if you are a serial killer and you did heinous shit, the people... deserve to be able to have the like it is. I think it's a very sacred thing. It's a very sacred thing to see that person to die and to be buried, because that signifies the end of the road for the pain that was caused upon you, and now there is the end of the road. Like that, and it may not bring a necessarily like a huge influx of joy or whatever it is into your life, but it is like if I lost somebody who was close to me because of a serial killer, I would want to watch them die, and I would want to watch them be buried.
Here's a tidbit. I think in life, everything is kind of broke down in layers because you're only alive so long.
Yeah.
And with life being broke down in layers, similar maybe to that of an onion. I don't want to sound like a famous green ogre of any kind, but like life's kind of like an onion.
Yeah,
And
it's okay.
in regards to that, like if you're shedding a layer every once in a while,
Yeah.
significant things occur that make you actually break down a little bit and you lose a layer.
You do.
These days occur, and a funeral is the biggest example of those, to where you lose an entire layer, and there's not a human on the face of the earth that has the right to interrupt the shedding of a layer of my life. And they better fucking recognize.
Which is, but it's also kind of, it's also weird because in a way we are also like onions that we're still growing. So we're still adding layers into it.
Well, there's several layers to go. Until the very end, there's layers on layers.
Well, I don't think you're born with all the layers.
Well, you're not born with a given amount of layers.
I think what it is you just keep developing layers. And you just keep developing and you keep developing. And as you develop, they also peel off and some die in the inner side. And those fucking get absorbed in by the plant itself, which is you.
If there's truth to that, my only rebuttal to it is the fact that you die so shortly that the gained layers are nowhere near as thick as the lost ones. So like as you lose layers, there's a repair or mending process, but you only live so long. So the ones that are lost are more thick, for lack of a better word, than the ones that you're getting back.
Yeah.
And that's why these important situations have to be like, respected. You just got to recognize this as like everybody's thing to go through individually without any sort of outer intervals stopping it from happening.
You know what really sucks? This is a really serious conversation. I got to pee.
Yeah.
So continue it.
So onions. The best way to cook an onion when you're eating onions and onions.
Some sauteed shit.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty sad to go to a funeral, but it's a good thing. If you're going to a funeral, it's to try and remember good times of a person that actually passed away. But like having a funeral is important as far as a rite. I don't necessarily think that anyone should be able to stroll up to my funeral or one that I'm actually throwing for a person and try to tell me anything, let alone, any sort of agenda they've got. This is a day for the dead. I'm here to remember a person and not have you cast a shadow on that whatsoever. I've been to a few funerals that were hard enough as it is, and I would have been teetering at that point. If a man came up and tried to tell me one way or another about a thing, I would have probably had no choice but to act irrationally. At the few funerals I've actually been to that really made a large difference would have been a lot harder if I had anybody trying to like cause grief. And with a grief-stricken occasion like that, there's no need for that. I ain't having it. But then again, there are a lot of people that need to be kind of looked at as evil, the ones that are being put down for really like wicked crimes. I don't think you should be celebrating a death necessarily, but if you've got a family member that were wrongfully killed by a person and they have a person sitting in on their funeral, they have the right to witness that without any sort of a interruption. And that's important. It is interesting, though, how different countries handle that, because it's really serious around these parts here in the West. But like, there are countries that'll carry a body and parade it around the street and just carry this dead dude without a casket, like wrapped in sheets, and just dance him around the streets. And it seems crazy to me. But like, if you're a foreigner, maybe our concepts are crazy too about exactly how like clean cut we go about it and how almost ritualistic it is, of like going from church to burial and stuff like that. It seems pretty crazy, but they think of it almost as more of a happy occasion, and it comes across as really grim to me to see a person handle a body off into the street, dancing and jumping, and then place it into a hole. It's freaky, but everybody handles it differently, and death's been occurring forever. Everybody dies. So it's a really weird way to have to think about it. It's like, how's death going to be handled from here until the future? Eventually they'll just be shooting people off from capsules into outer space. They'll just disappear into the darkness and collide into some random person's ship who didn't have it coming and be like, I'm being hit. I'm being hit with dead bodies flying from an unknown place. And it's supposed to be a sacred occasion from them, but me, I'm just being hit with missiles of literal death. This future funeral collided with my ship, and it's caused me grief.
Or are you talking about the Star Trek type of funerals?
Yeah, where you just shoot a dead body out into space, and it all seems good, but your body's being flung through space. And
you're getting a littering ticket.
That's at the very least.
At the very least.
You're getting a littering ticket.
You are. Because you're littering space. Why the fuck are... Especially when you could just, like, evaporate the dude.
You could easily. If it's easy to cremate a dude nowadays, I can only imagine how easy it'd be to cremate a dude on accident back in the day.
You know what? I only approve shooting a person out in a pod if you shoot him into a sun.
That sounds good.
It's kind of like a burial at sea. It's like we are going... It is a cremation.
It is, yeah.
It is a
shooting him off into the sun. He's gonna.
And you know what? You're not polluting outer space with your own junk, which is human dead bodies. You're not gonna have human bodies raining on random planets and eons as soon as cosmic winds shift.
Was your bathroom occupied?
It was. I peed in the sink.
I had to pee the same time you did. That's awesome. There you go.
Well, you know what? Because I went to the bathroom and Josh was like, I'm in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it. And then so I went outside. I was like, I'll just pee outside because I'm an outdoors person. You can pee outside if you're an outdoors person.
But there was someone out there.
There was 4 people out there.
Really?
3.
That's a lot.
Well, 4 if you count the dog.
I don't.
I do.
Okay.
You have to count them now. I mean, you never know. That could be a furry. But no, she was very close. Like there was a person like that would be able to just see me just like straight peeing.
That would have been funny.
And then so I was like, I really have to pee. So I ended up fucking just taking a leak in the sink.
Well, there you go.
You gotta take a leak in the sink. I don't give a fuck.
No, I'm good.
You pee in my sink.
I have the fortitude to survive.
Okay.
Does your brother take legendarily long shits?
No, he's taking legendary long showers.
Oh.
Yeah. He takes a long time to put his shorts on.
That's funny.
And he doesn't turn on the fan. Which is really funny because it's like you have this massive respiratory disease going around and it's like I'm not going to turn on the fan in order to stop mold from growing into the fucking bathroom to where I fucking take a shit and take a piss and take a shower. And now I got to fucking be into this place that has fucking bacteria fucking growing on the walls and expelling spores and kind of like not allowing my lungs to be like good and shit.
That's the 3 big S's. Shit, piss, shower.
I thought it was shit, shave, and shower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't shave.
Yeah, no shaving. Not in these parts.
No.
I haven't shaved in millennia.
I shaved a little bit.
I shaved never.
You know what? My beard isn't the greatest when it gets huge.
My beard stops. It's been the same size forever.
Everything stops for you.
Yeah, hair. I don't get haircuts. It stops at the right time.
Well, you know what stops for me is the hair on top of my head, but not on the back of my head.
Oh, you'll get yourself kind of a mullet going.
Yeah.
There you go. Natural mullet is natural.
It's a natural mullet, but what sucks, because I have some of the strongest neck hair. I got some I got neck hair. Boom. I got fucking neck hair. Where are we even at on this podcast? We've been sitting down for a little bit.
I feel like it's been a while.
Oh, we're at an hour 34 already.
Well.
Yep.
You know what they say.
No wonder our fucking shit's been fucking crapping out on us.
Yeah, please stop.
Oh shit, your camera's been stopped for a second.
Oh. Yours is off too.
Nope. No, it's not.
The screen's not going on this end. You can't see anything on
Well, yeah, because the screen shuts off.
Does it?
I forgot to shut the screen off on yours. Maybe that's the reason why yours is having such difficulty.
Well,
keeping up. But I've been mine's been shutting off too. I don't know if you've noticed that. Mine's been shutting off during this.
They've been making a lot of noises this time around.
Dude, they've had such a fuss.
They've had the virus.
They got the coronas. They are Chinese.
They got coronases.
They got the coronases. And on that note, you guys can get the coronases too through TDP.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. We talked about death. We talked about funerals. Everyone's dying. There's a virus. This was the virus episode.
No, this is the preparing for the funeral episode.
Yeah.
We're expecting everybody to die.
There will be a lot of funerals and deaths.
I am wanting to get management. Everybody's going to die.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You know how you become number one podcast in the nation?
How?
Everybody dies.
That's a good point. Eliminate the competition.
900 podcasts, now down to 1,000.
I was going to eliminate the competition with fisticuffs when it came down to it. But this is actually a little easier.
It's a lot easier. Just think about it more often. But, no. I think this is a good time to go ahead and shut this shit down.
Wrapping it up.
And so I really don't know. Well, okay. I guess like the traditional is like you fucking leave a comment. Okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
If you leave a comment, that'd be nice.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, if you leave a comment, it actually makes it to where our fucking podcast gets more views and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is when you leave a comment, it's most likely like, oh, you guys are fucking stupid bitches. And it's like, we're probably not going to read that shit.
I'd like for you to shy away from that. My eyes, they only pick up positive links of like lettering. So if your letter is strewn together in a negative fashion, there's just like, get blip, blip, bagat, bat. I don't actually understand when you talk shit. So if you got good things to say, that's something my eyes perceive.
Unless it's some really shit, like if it's really funny shit talking. Like if it's like...
In the rare event that you have clever shit talking shit to say, it'll be recognized. But if it's just the standard jargon, leave it at the door. Don't even come in here with that.
I mean, you might as well just fart into a microphone and post that. Actually, that'd be pretty...
Nah.
Well, some of it would be pretty funny.
Every once in a while.
Like whenever fucking... I was doing some... I can't really talk about it because it's some things that I can't really talk about onto the podcast. But I'll tell you off the podcast. It's pretty funny, but you guys will not know how funny it is and just take me for at my word.
Damn.
Yes. This is your supreme lord. Take me at my word. Take him at my word.
Worship the sun.
Yeah, worship us. Worship the sun. Worship things.
Yeah, get to it.
Do it! I think we're dragging this on. But, okay. So, you motherfuckers and us motherfuckers are probably just going to get off this podcast. So, thank you very much. Thank you. I've had a really...
I've been watching a lot of British humor, so...
Yeah.
That's how you like flip a person off in Britain.
And when you flip someone off in Britain, then follow me at Justin_TDP Fishing.
If anyone in Britain
Instagram.
saw me do that, please thumbs up this. I've been watching a lot of young ones lately. That's your guys' show.
Yeah. So go ahead, everybody out there. You know, just have fun and just go fuck yourself, I guess.
If that's what you're into.
Yeah.
Give it an old college try.